Morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry to do the call and then jumping on this one. So here we go. So good morning, guys. What we're gonna go over financing again today, right? Want to make sure that we are getting a grasp on everything financing. So getting used to using our tools, right? Did anybody have any cool success stories based on? Were you guys able to try anything or set anything up on your jobs that might have helped out yesterday? Who is not on mute? Here we go. Okay, apparently not. So we're gonna roll. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pull this back up again. So you should be able to see my finance sheet. All right, so we're gonna go through this again and just make sure we're full coherent on basically offering financing, right? So when we walk into it, so we're gonna go through this real quick. We're gonna review this, and then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put you in a situation, and you guys are gonna tell me where to go. Okay, so I want to make sure again we understand. So let me see.
Hey, Dustin, my screen just shows that you have started screen sharing with the little thing going around and around, but I don't see anything on the screen.
Hold on, I'll stop and then reshare again. I'm just going to share my desktop and I'll flip over to.
There we go.
Here. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah, we're good.
So cool. So Adam, tell me how to get a payment for $19,500 at 6.99 for 144. Tell me a payment for that.
See, 6.99 for how long?
144.
Okay, there we are. Okay, give me a second. So it's the 19,500 times 1.02% equals $198.98, or $198.90. Excuse me.
Perfect. Okay. So real quick, Mike Pierce, give me a payment on 21,000 at 7.99 for 180.
Dustin, I can't do it. I am in the shower, but I'm listening.
What the fuck?
Sorry, Bob.
Okay. Terry Going. Give me a payment for 21,000 at 7.99 for 180. Terry, be ready to unmute. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm trying. Where's the mute button? Damn it. Yeah.
21,000, 7.99 for 180. What's my payment?
Okay, second. $93 a month. Did I get that right?
Check him. Is that right, group?
Nope.
I didn't have that. I had something different.
21,000.
Different.
21,000 times 7.99 divided
Nope.
by.
Not even close.
No.
So see that thing that says payment factor?
Yep.
See where it says description, APR, the payment factor?
Mm-hmm.
Go down to your plan, 7.99 for 180, and you literally type in 21,000 times your payment factor, which is what?
And the plan is, I'm not following the plans.
So the plan, see on the left, it says standard plan. Then it
Right,
says description, then it says APR, then it says payment factor.
right.
And that payment factor is what you take to figure out what your payment is. So if it's 21,000, what would be my payment factor to get my payment? Or basically 7.99 for 180.
And this is 180.
Right here.
You're saying.
Right here. I just need to make sure you understand how to get it. So say it says right here, it says, you know, plan 4096, reduced APR 7.99, APR 7.99, payment factor 0.96%. So if I take 21,000 times 0.96%, that's going to give me what my payment would be.
Okay.
What's my payment?
Second. $201.
Yes, 201.60, right?
Correct.
Okay, so 201.60. So now you're going to figure out a payment factor is where you go. You need to make sure you're on the spot on that, right? So again, you got one more. What is 18,000 at 36 months, 0% interest?
Okay.
So 18,000 at 36 months, 0% interest. What's my payment?
So 18,000 times 11.75.
No,
Oh,
don't pay attention to any of that. See payment factor. It's the only thing you do. It's 18,000 divided by 36. That's all it is.
oh.
So
Okay,
see where it says payment factor? That's
Yeah,
what you pay
500.
attention to. The only other thing you need to pay attention to other than that, so I'm glad we're going over this then. So the only other thing you need to pay attention to other than that is that thing called rep fee. So I got
Right.
my description, I got my payment factor, and I got my rep fee over here, right? So I need to make sure my rep fee is covered. I need to make sure that I know how to get my payment, and I need to know what I'm actually trying to use. Does that make sense?
It does. So I know the rep fee is going to be, I have to have coverage for that. So I'm not
Yeah,
under.
let's go. Let's do one more to make sure you know it. So let's take 14,150. So 14,150, and then give me a payment of 6.99 for 60. What is that?
So 235.
It's not what I got.
Divided by 60 payments, right?
No. Listen, 6.99 for 60 months, okay, which is over here. Here's my term. 6.99 for 60 is a 1.98% payment factor. So if I take that number now and I times that by 1.98%, you should have $280.17. So we need some work. So if you're closing 45% and you don't know this, yeah, you'll close 50.
I think I can clear up some confusion if you guys want.
Go right
Yeah.
The payment factor is not something that's like adding complexity or something that you're using to calculate with the months and everything. It's kind of reverse engineered as a shortcut for us so that we don't have to do a bunch of crazy math. And those are put there so that all we have to do is take the dollar amount and multiply it by that. And this is here not as a complicated piece of the pie, but as a shortcut for us to get to our payment quickly when we're on the spot.
Yes. You know, when you look at your price presentation page, the mathematical formula in there to show you a 60-month payment is literally 1.98%. So it's doing that same thing. The reason you need this, Terry, let's
Yeah.
say you have a $14,000 project, but they want to put $5,000 down. Right. So what's the fastest way to know is to know your financing payment factor, and it's going to allow you to get there. Or if you need to know that. So yesterday, what we talked about, Rowan, tell us, how do we use the 3-month deferral to our benefit? Right. So 6.99 for 60 has 3-month, no interest, no payment. How would we use that? And give me an example.
Example would be if a customer is like paying off a car payment in like 6 months, and you'd be able to defer it basically like with the lead time to basically like 5-6 months.
Okay. So it's buying us time, right? So one of the things
Yeah.
we got to do, we got to get freaking smooth here, right? And I'm going to force feed this down everyone's throat because it's super important. So we look at this, knowing your financing programs. These, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. There's 10 total programs, and the 2 on the bottom are only used when we have. That's really there's 8 programs that we use, right? And really, the majority of the ones we use are 12 months, and then 6.99, 6.99, 6.99. So a lot of them you're not going to use. 9.99 is going to come out when you basically need it, right? So what we're doing is there's 2 different factors in here. Number one, understanding this form, when it says that description, right? Reduced APR, 6.99, 3-month, no interest, no payments, right? NIMP is no interest, no payments. 6.99 is the APR. That's your payment factor, how you get to what their monthly payment's going to be. That's the term is 60 months. It's a dealer cost of 5%, which costs you as a rep nothing. See, when you see over here, it says 0, that means there's no fee to you. Okay. So even if it's an 18-month, really the way I've got your pricing built in, still doesn't cost you any money. So we need to understand how to use these programs, because when we get into real life here, we get into actual start role playing, you're going to need to know these programs. If you don't have this at the touch of a finger to help you maneuver, you're going to get stuck. Because again, the no interest, no payment, say that somebody says, well, I don't want that 6.99. I'm not going to pay that. I think I can beat that at my bank. Well, great. So how would we handle that? Mark Moore, how would we transition from that? How could we sell that so it's a no-brainer to continue to move forward today?
So if they think they're going to get a better deal at their bank, then I would, okay, Dustin. Well, it sounds to me there is an opportunity from what you're telling me. You have an opportunity to probably get a better deal at your bank. Is that correct?
Yes, I think I do.
How long do you think it would take for you to get that information?
Probably 30 days, maybe a couple weeks.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sure. So if I had a way to be able to provide a program that actually would bridge that, giving you enough time to be able to see if you got a bank that could come up with a better interest rate, and set it up so that you don't have to make any payments. And then you just, as soon as you find out you do have a bank, you might be able to transfer that. That'd be something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. So I don't know until I take a look at what I have, but let me see what I can find. So you're saying about 3 months or 30 days. So a month, we're just talking a month away. All right. Well, there's, let's see here. And then I purposely just slow down.
Okay. So we need to smooth that beginning part out, right?
Okay.
Going through, but it's choppy. So again, so sounds like to me, then you feel pretty confident you can go to your own bank and beat that rate. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes.
Is that it? Nothing else?
That's all I need. Just need some time.
Cool. So it sounds like to me, the only reason we're not moving forward is the fact that you feel like you can beat the rate from your bank. Is that correct?
I'm pretty sure my bank can beat it. Yes.
Perfect. Well, then we've got a program that's just for you. So obviously you said that's going to take you how long, Mark?
Well, I could probably figure that out within 30 days.
Okay, so 30 days. So safe to say, realistically, if now in my head I'm saying, well, it's going to take me 2 months to get it installed, and then they got 3 months, no interest, no payments, right?
Mhm.
So literally that just bought them how long before they really got to start making their first payment where they're going to pay interest?
Oh, well, that'd be about 5 months. I had to put them into what, May? So then I would be saying, instead of months, I'd be telling them the actual month. So we're saying by May, you'd be making your first payments.
So it's safe to say by May, you would know whether or not you're going to beat that rate, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I should.
So here's what we're going to do for you. Number one, welcome to Dreamstar Remodeling. Number two, we're going to put you on a program that's got this 6.99 for 60 months with an unsecured rate. We dare you to beat it. So we're going to give you 5 months here with no interest and no payments to allow you to go out there and shop and beat our rate. And if you do, there's no penalty for early payoff. You only pay as much as you use for the first 5 months. That's zero. That sounds like a no-brainer, right? Can I welcome you to Dreamstar Remodeling?
Wow, that's pretty fair. All right. Thank
Worst
you.
case scenario would be, and then you state the payment.
Right.
See the difference you utilize that in?
Yes. Yeah. And you're much smoother.
Yeah, it's not choppy, right? So you don't want to be choppy. You want to work on your words there, right?
Yep.
So words matter. So making sure you're smoothing your transition is a huge deal, because we need to do it, not looking at this screen. We need to do it looking at the price presentation screens, right?
Right.
So it's way harder to do it when you got this sitting in front of your face, but this is where we want to practice. So now let's say, who wants to give it a shot? Roll back through that again. I mean, because the more we get smooth at saying it, the more you hear it, the better off you're going to be. Is that an objection you guys run into?
Sure. And in the beginning of the year right now, you're going to have the excuse about taxes. Oh, everything looks great. Just give us about a month. We just need to get our taxes done. And once we get our tax money, we'll be ready to go.
Great. So how would we word something like that, Alex, when we're using our financing?
Oh, okay. So Dustin, sounds like to me, you're just going to wait to get your taxes done, right? And then money in hand, you'll be ready to place an order.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And that's it. Nothing else. I mean, you felt confident about everything we bring to the table today. It's just really about getting that money in hand for you.
Yeah. We just want to make sure, we got it in hand before we do it, but we should have it in a couple months. Yeah.
In a couple of months. Okay. And that's it. Nothing else, Dustin?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you feel comfortable and confident with everything we got today.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned a couple months. If we're in January, February, March. So you're talking March, is that right? By March, you'll have your money?
March, April. Yeah.
March, April. Okay. So now we're talking maybe 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
You're not planning to go over the 15th of April, it sounds like.
No. We're early adapters. We like to get it done out of the way.
Okay. So then it sounds like to me, if we fast forward, if we're sitting in March, let's just call it April, right? If we're sitting at April 1st right now, a few months down the line, I'd be coming back and writing up your order for you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So sounds like you're just asking for some time, right? Is that the main thing here? You just need a little bit of time?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair enough. Let me ask you this, Dustin. If I could give you the gift of time, right? If I can actually give you the gift of time today, would you be open to, see, this is where I messed up right now. I got to get on the yes train, right?
Yeah.
If I can give you the gift of, if I can show you something that'll give you the gift of time, Dustin, could you tell me yes today?
Can I pause you real quick? Because I want to make that word track a little stronger, right? So
Yep.
Where you're going was good, but let's talk about what if, right? So sounds like to me the only thing that could come between you and moving forward is just the fact you don't get as big a tax return as you thought. Is that correct?
Well, wait a minute. You just took it in a whole different direction right there.
I did, because I
Say
want
that again.
you want to remove the excuse, right? So what happened is you just left them with an excuse that you're going to have to battle again. Because you said, well, it sounds like to me in a couple months you would be doing it, right? So, okay, great. So let me ask you, what would be the worst that could happen? Well, we wouldn't get as much on our tax return, because what they're doing is they're banking on something that's not real yet. That makes sense?
Yep.
What happens if an emergency comes up? What happens if basically they need to use those funds somewhere else? What happens if something happens with the presidential change, that it changes the taxes, right? We don't know. That's uncertainty. So what we want to do is we want to remove uncertainty out of that equation and make sure we have a definite. So guys, let me ask you a question, man. It sounds like to me, basically, the gift of time is important to you, but if I were here, without a doubt, 100% would be moving forward, in April or May, let's say. I think
Yeah.
so.
I think so.
I think so is not a yes.
Yeah, I know.
I think-
You said I think so, and I took it as a yes.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't take I think so as a yes. You got to find out what I think so means.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Correct.
That's why I did that. I did not.
And when you did that, I kind of heard it, and but I still rolled through it, and I was like, oh, that might be the mosquito right there.
Mosquito, absolutely.
Yep.
So, I heard you say, I think you so. So what would be the worst that would happen? Would you get started with part of it? If you didn't come out to be as good as what you thought it would be, how would you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, we want to get something accomplished. So yeah, I guess we would do, if we didn't get as much as we thought, maybe, we do that starter package you had mentioned.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. If I had a program for you, I think you're going to really like, and it basically gave you what I call a safety net, not only bought you time. Would you be interested in hearing that?
Yeah, I mean, we really
Alice,
want to get that money in hand, but we'll see what you got.
Well, Alice, regardless, you definitely said you needed to get the product taken care of, right?
Yeah, no, we've been waiting for a while for this one.
You did say you're 100% confident trusting us to do the work for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, based on what you showed me, I feel really good about what you guys bring to the table.
And there was nothing else you were looking for, but making sure the investment fit in the budget, right? And based on what you shared with me, it does, but probably not as comfortable as until you get your tax return. Is that correct?
Yep, that sounds about right.
It sounds like to me, really, the only reason we're not moving forward is the fact that you don't have that money in hand and you just want to be more comfortable. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So if all else failed, and let's say you didn't get quite the tax return back, and you could put, let's say it's a $12,000 order, what do you think the worst case scenario would be that you could put towards the project?
Worst case, around 5,000.
For 5,000. So again, that would leave about seven grand is what that would leave basically off of there, right? So one of the things I suggest, right? Because if you can put money down, that's a great deal. But again, let's cash it as basically, you got a couple $100. You got a couple
Sure.
$100. Okay. So we're just gonna take this as the 12. We'll say 11.9, right? So we'll take 11.9. And then basically we're going to take that by, let me ask you, if worst case scenario, if it fell out and your tax return was nothing like you thought it was going to be, would a safety net of $280.38 put you in financial harm?
How much was that again?
280 bucks and 38, 280.38.
Oh, 238. Okay.
280.38.
I thought I heard you heard 80. Yeah, 280 probably not. 238. Not bad. It's almost like a little small car payment or something like that.
Well, knowing you got to get it done anyways. This is just a what if kind of a safety caution, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's practical. That's feasible.
Okay, so basically, it sounds like to me, if I were here in basically May, you'll know whether or not you're getting a good tax return or not, right?
Yep.
So if worst case scenario in May, you had to make a payment, of 280 a month, let's say, that's not counting putting anything towards the project. You said that would be comfortable anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean, 300 would be pushing it for sure, but below that would be something manageable.
Okay. Well, realize if you're able to throw any money down from your tax return, that's the worst it would be. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So congratulations. Here's what we're going to do for you, Alex. I'm going to welcome you to Dreamstar Modeling. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you 5 months with no interest and no payment to make sure, again, that this is taken care of for you. Isn't that a relief? Can I welcome you to Dreamstar Modeling?
How does that happen? How do you give me 5 months of no interest, no payments?
Let me explain this to you, man. It's one of the big benefits of this is fantastic, right? So it's going to take me about, with the Infinity from Marvin product, it's going to take me about, about 3 to 4 weeks to get your product in, right? Then it's going to take us about a week or 2 to schedule you. And then generally that takes approximately about 60 days to take care of, right? Sometimes a little bit longer. So it might even be June before you'd really have to make a payment if you didn't get your money the way you're expecting to get it, right? But a lot of people, we realize, like to save for a rainy day, or like to basically not use that big sum of money because maybe they need to use it on other things as well. So what we've done is we've bought you 3 months, no interest, no payment from the date of the install after it's completed. You got 3 months with no interest, no payment that allows you to prepare for that first 280 a month payment if that were the worst case scenario would be, right? So that's why I'm asking you at 280, would 280 work? Or just for safety precaution, just for safety, would it be more comfortable? So that way you don't have to think about it. It's a no-brainer to be about 138 a month. Which one of those two would work better for you after basically the next 5 months? Would you want a safety net of 138 or one of 280?
Oh boy, that's a big stretch. That's like $150. Could I pay more if I wanted to?
You can always pay more, and there's no penalty for
Oh.
early payment.
Well, if that's the case, maybe we just go with the lower payment, and then if I can pay more, I'll pay more.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you did say that you wanted to make sure you got your window done, and you were dependent on basically you're trying to make this dependent on your tax return. And one thing I know is I don't know what I don't know. I'm sure you agree with that, right? But again, having a safety net of $138, if you said you were comfortable with 230, I know you're comfortable with 138. Can I
Yes.
welcome you to Dream?
Man, for $138 and then not paying interest for all these months, I can save up some money. You know what? I think you found a way. Let's get it done.
Cool. So do you know what I did there? Does anyone know what I did? How I did that?
Slice of life for sure.
I think what you ended up doing was you gave him, I think you went from the 60 months to the 120. So it was a longer term, which brought the price down. You took the basically, we'll say 2 months for manufacturing, then the additional 3-month deferment payment. So giving him 5 months basically before he has to make his first payment. So like you said, you gave him a safety net with a gift of time.
Yeah. And then his fallback is 6.99 for 60 is what I started with. And when I knew that I was at the top of his budget, because he said it twice, then I knew that I was going to alter. I saved it for a minute. I knew where I was going to go, but I made him say it again. So I knew it really was $300. That's almost not doable, right? So then I flipped it to 120 months. So I was 12 grand, I said, right? So I took $100 off for a deposit, and then I took 11,900. And I took that times, first the 1.98%, which gave me my 60-month payment. And then as my alternate choice, where I told him if it's not 280, then it'd be 138.04. That's going to be my 1.16, which is right here. So I'm literally taking that 11,900 times these two numbers is how I found out my difference. Does that make sense?
Boom.
And then what happens is I'm getting my 3 months. It says it right over here. No payment. So your no interest, no payments right here. NINP, 3 months. So no payments for 3 months, right? Followed by basically 120 payments of whatever the number is times that number is what they would be paying. And what you do is you call it a safety net. You don't make them feel guilty, but just realize if people are banking on a tax return, it means they don't have funds to pay for it otherwise. So the likelihood they're going to call you back and something else isn't going to come up is very small. This is a no-brainer. And then what happens, I got his brain focused on the 138 a month and paying more now, not using his tax return. So what I did is I alleviated pressure and then got him focused on moving forward and what the benefit was for moving forward, which is he's got 5 months now with no interest, no payment. And if he would have told me, well, I don't think we want the 6.99, well, then great. Guess what? Now I can call it a bridge loan and then tell them to go get their own loan from their own bank. Now I've got him stuck into two different scenarios, right? He can go get his own loan from his own bank, or he can basically use his tax return to pay, or he's got a safety net. The worst case scenario is 138.04 a month. I made it really easy to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key right there, making it easy to say yes. And then that tax return money, it's your choice at that point, right? Put it in your bank or just put it towards the loan so you're paying it down early.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody want me to walk through that slow again? Because that scenario right there will work like a mofo no matter what scenario you're in.
Actually, Dustin, yes, because, and I'm glad we're running through this because we are going to see this a lot. It seems like right around tax time, we hear these excuses, why they need to wait. So I would appreciate you doing that.
Okay. So let's walk down it, right? So again, we need to have this form, this thing right here in our hands the whole time. If you don't have this, by the way, if you're showering or doing other things and you're not paying attention, and I see this objection, it means you're not working on your craft. So make sure you know how to do this, right? This is something, if you're going to role play, get into it. Because if you did a massive presentation and this is coming up in the customer's mind, this is a real objection for them, okay? It is a real objection for them. It's not a stall, not a tactic. They want to do the project, but they're thinking they're going to use these funds, right? Life happens, right? COVID happened. People's bills happen. Emergencies happen. Emergency visits happen. Car accidents happen. Things happen. So you got to take those things, you got to move them out of the equation and have a next step. Remember I said chess, be 1 or 2 steps ahead of them at all times. So first, we got to know our programs, right? So 3 months, no interest, no payment. 3 months, no interest, no payment. Down here, my 9.99 to 6 months, no interest, no payment. The interest rate is okay, but regardless, the only reason I'm ever going to use this reduced 9.99 for 6 months from the date of installation, they got 6 months before they make a payment, is if they're 5 months or if they're basically 8 months out from doing something or 7 months out from doing something, or call me in the fall. That's a program you can use. And then you can challenge them. Well, what's going to change between now and the fall? Well, I'm getting a settlement. Are you for sure getting a settlement? So if I were here in September, sounds like to me there's no reason besides that why wouldn't be moving forward today, or why wouldn't be moving forward right in September? No reason at all. Like zero. Perfect. I got a program for you. Let me show you if I can help you not have to pay for this thing till December. And then there's a safety net on the back side of it. Would you be interested? I know a lot of you saying, well, why wouldn't you just go to 12 months, no interest, no payment? Because if you give somebody a safety net at a low interest rate, right? Because if you take one of these 12 months or 18 months, the end default rate is 18% to 20%. So you're actually putting them in financial harm if they don't do it. So just think about that in the back of your head, right? Or they're saying, I can't take a payment on till then. I can't afford another payment till then. You've got something to remove that objection right here, okay? On this one now, where he was telling me his tax return, right? So go back to tax return. Hey, I think we're going to actually hold off. I love everything. Seems like it's all a fit, but we want to get our tax return in hand first and have that money in hand before we make a decision on this. So first off, time out. What does that actually mean? What does that actually mean? Where's that going in the equation? And how's that going to take me to or away from my goal, right? What that means is they don't know how much of a tax return they're going to get. So if they don't know how much of tax return they're going to get, how can they commit to something? They don't know what they're actually going to get. Have you guys ever walked in on your tax return and known exactly down to a penny what you're going to get? Some of you maybe that have CPA license might know, or you might have an idea, but you know, things change. You know, last month was the first year I've ever had to pay in, and I generally get about $4,000 back. So I look at it like, wow. So it was a different change, right? What happens if that happens and you don't have a safety net? Now they're trying to bail out and bounce out. And the first thing to do is call you and say, hey, you know, I got to pay taxes. I'm not getting taxes. It's just not a good time. Then boom, you just lost that order because you just allowed them to stall you based on something that is inevitable that they don't know. You're chasing unicorns and rainbows by allowing them to wait to do their tax return. Okay. So our whole idea is how do we get them bought into having a safety net, right? A lot of times financing can be used as a safety net. It doesn't have to be that they're taking advantage of it, but it's a safety net. And based on the equation they go into, that's where we roll. Okay, so great. So it sounds like to me, guys, that if you look at basically doing a project like this, that you want to use your tax return to help with that. Is that correct? Great. And your tax return, you know, we're at 12,143. So if we're at 12,1, just say 12, say 12,000 for easy math to make it easier on you guys. So we're at 12K, right? At 12, basically, would you think you'll be getting that much of a tax return? Yeah, we're pretty sure. Okay. But if you're pretty sure, what would be the worst that it would come back at? Well, maybe, I don't know, $6-7 grand. Okay. Well, if you got $6-7 grand back, would we still be doing part of the project, or would you put money from savings in there to get you up to the 12? That we don't know. Okay. Well, if you don't know, then it sounds like to me, you got a safety net. If you started with something, what do you think you would start with first? We'd like to do the whole project. Okay. So it sounds like to me, though, the whole project, the 12K, might not be an option. If it came back and it were lower than you thought, what would you do? We'd probably have to put it off. Okay. Good. Now I'm going to rehash my commitment. Okay, I understand. But you know, earlier we went over a couple things that we shared with you on the inspection and reasons you called me out for, and you said that this definitely needed to be replaced, right? And you're 100% confident trusting us to do the work, which isn't an issue. And there was nothing else you were looking for when it came to the product, as far as colors, design, choices, everything was a fit. There was nothing else you're looking for. So really it's down to the money, right? So let's say I fast forward and I'm here and now in my mind, 2 months for install, right? And 3 months, you know, 2 months is the earliest for install, right? Sometimes we're promising 8 to 12 weeks. We're just going to take 2 months to be safe, right? Then I've got 3 months, no interest, no payments. That's 5 months it just bought me. Right now we're January 7th, right? So I got February 7th, March 7th. You know, basically I've got April, May, June. Really, I'm in June before they make a payment, right? If I got basically, if I'm in June before they really make a payment on something, I've got that much time to buy me. That way I know I don't have to I've got my objection covered. Yeah, can you put yourself, or JC, can you put yourself on mute, please? So if I got 5 months to buy, that means June's when my first payment's going to be, right? So now I got to figure out, how do I make that equation work? If I got 11,000, if I got 12,000, first I'm going to say, well, let me ask you, you guys got a couple $100 laying around? Most people are going to say, yeah, I got a couple $100 laying around. Cool. So I'm just going to take $100, right? I'm not trying to get a bunch of money right now because I want them focused on the solution, not how much they're putting down. Later, I can try to get more down from them if I want to, but I'm just trying to get it. So now I'm going to say, okay, well, you know, it sounds like to me, if I were here in June, you'll know absolutely what you're getting back on your tax return, and your decision will be a decision you'll be comfortable making by then, right? Yes, but no matter what, we agreed you've got to get these windows done, correct? Cool. So you were hoping to get the 12K, but let's just say, for instance, now I've got 12K, right? Let's say they put $100 down. Now that's going to leave me $11,900, right? It's just 12,000 minus 100 is 11,900, right? I take 11,900 and I times that at my 6.99 at 60, which I know by looking is a payment factor of 1.98, right? If I got my payment factor 1.98, that means my payment is going to be 235.62, right? 235.62. So if I say, hey, let me ask you an equation, right? Say something came up where in June, you might not be able to pay that whole amount, but you had a safety net. And let's say a safety net was 235 a month. Let me ask you, would that put you in financial harm to go ahead and make a monthly investment of 235 a month? And most people are going to say no. If they're telling you, well, that might be more than I would like, it'd be better if it was like 150. Woo. Okay. But if you did have a safety net of around 150 after basically June, sounds like to me that would be a no-brainer, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So what I hear you saying is the worst case scenario would happen is we would be doing something in June, right? Yes. And that safety net, if that were around 135 bucks, right? So now I'm going to take my 11,900. I'm going to times that by now my 6.99 for 120, right? Which is a 1.16% is 138.04, right? So now I'm going to have that in my head and I'm going to stop it. So it sounds like to me, based on around that, 130 bucks, 140 bucks, that's what it would take to run your business, right? Cool. Here's what we're going to do. First off, I want to welcome you to Dreamstar Remodeling. Congratulations, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to give you 5 months, no interest, no payment. And then the worst case scenario would be we'll fall back into a basically safety net of 138.04 a month, right? Now that fits in the budget, doesn't it? Can I welcome you to Dreamstar Remodeling? But what's the interest rate? Well, okay, that case is not some crazy balloon rate at 18 to 20%. It's a low interest rate on a unsecured loan of basically 6.99%, right? You couldn't touch that at your bank. But let's say you think that's too much. You also have till June to go shop that and see if you can beat that rate at your bank. So pretty much we're giving you a no risk obligation or no risk opportunity here to take care of the windows you want and need and basically have the opportunity to pay it off in 5 months with no interest and not have a single payment in that factor. And if you feel like you can beat it at your own bank, then you got the opportunity to do it there too, right? So the worst it's going to be is a couple $100 today. And then a safety net in June, possibly July of 138.04 a month, right? That sounds like a no-brainer. Can I welcome you to Dreamstar Remodeling? So Mark, did that help out a little bit?
Yeah, the big takeaway right now for me is, obviously working with the payment factors, but it's overcoming with a worst case scenario and then creating that safety net. I think that's really making a difference for me. Overcoming any objections, because I know when the tax is coming, that's going to be a big one.
Absolutely. That's what I wanted to show you, man. Using financing is you're taking the worst case scenario. You're putting them in a worst case scenario. So what if this happened? What if an accident happened? What if somebody got sick? What would be the worst case scenario? You tell them that, and then you make them feel comfortable, right? That person's not going to be concentrated on canceling. They're going to be concentrated on going to their bank and beating the interest rate. Or number two, basically trying to get their tax return and figure out what that is. The next 3 days isn't going to be concentrating on that. It's going to be concentrating on a different solution if that's the route they want to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, this is great. Thank you.
All right. Adam, what's the takeaway today, big dog?
Just definitely need to keep working at it and getting smoother at this, because I see the benefit, is the upside is just infinite on it. Just having this tool, I'm getting there, getting more comfortable, but I really need to figure out ways to branch out and actually use them in the presentation more.
Yeah. Alex, takeaway today, my man.
Yeah. Multiple times you said in your role play, is that it and nothing else? I wrote it down in big capital letters. So I like that, where you just, you're isolating it down. That was the mosquito that bit me when you said, kind of, or sort of, or, And then just the safety net verbiage, I like using the gift of time, but I like that safety net also. And then if you just want to look at it, just instead of having memorized 1.98 and 1.16, you can just round up to 2, 1.2, and then 1 on the 799 if you want to do some quick numbers in your head. And the payment's only going to be under that. You're just going a couple of percentages up, not even percentages, but little half percentages. So
I would take that finance chart to the bottom of your iPad cover.
Yeah.
Me, that I would do so it's ready and available for you to look at in a second. Not have
yeah,
to
no, I
dig
have
in
it on my clipboard.
or anything.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Mike Pierce.
Yeah, what I took away from it is I need to be thinking, there are objections and objections that come at you, but thinking about the objections that aren't even there yet when you're thinking about the finance. And then also, doing the worst case scenario, putting them in a slice of life of at the worst it could be. And, could you still afford that? That's my takeaway.
You're making them comfortable with the worst it could be and still doing it.
Right.
That's the take. Cynthia.
I think the same thing as all of this training for me is just really getting specific about how to make it possible and not swallowing the whole objection of like, oh, the taxes, and just kind of like taking that in. I mean, I know that's a general feedback, but people have been pretty specific, but just to really break it down for them and to help them like get on their level and really listen to what their very specific objection is and get to the root of it and address that with specifics about how to break it down. So that's something that I really haven't done much at all and so I'm really working on that for this year, to be very specific about, how to make it possible and not buy into even what seems like a valid objection. So yes, that's general, but that's what I got out of it.
Good. So it's important. Janet.
I knew I was going to be next. I'm here. Good morning, everybody. I love the verbiage safety net. I haven't heard that before. So that was big for me too. I know Alex said that as well. And just the worst case scenario stuff, just not being afraid to lay that out, being afraid of a no, because you're laying out the worst case scenario, because you're offering them a solution to that worst case scenario. So I really love that today. Thanks.
Good. Jessica.
This gets to just getting really specific about the objections and knowing this stuff. You can of course look at the sheet, but just knowing, be ahead of be ahead of the objections and have, some in your back pocket that are common and how to solve them with the payment plans. The 5 months to find your own loan or to rearrange some financial, situations.
Mark,
That's a good amount of time.
There you go. Mark, take away today, Mark. This might be Mark Lance.
Excuse me, just another bullet in the gun. You've got so many different options from the 60, the 120, the 18 months, the 12 months, then the 18 months. There's many things and, different ways and angles that you can work this. So it's a great tool.
All right. So I can't wait to ride with you guys and watch this in action. Michelle.
It's kind of like I just got a new tool and I'm reading the instruction manual for the really first time. It's opening my eyes up to more uses.
Very good. Roanne.
Love the safety net stuff. For me, I definitely need to role play more on making it just kind of roll off the tongue and be smooth like butter. But I love also in your role playing today was just continuing to isolate the objections. And then also before you turn it around or however your role playing was so either way, no matter what, you'd agree that you're going to get these windows done today. Like you need to get these windows done, right? It's throughout the closing process too.
Yeah, works the same on Bass as it does on Windows. Absolutely. Good. Robbie.
Okay, yes. The safety net explanation or theme is really helpful. Also, and what it is, it's one of two ways, because it's a different version of kind of what I've been saying, which is best of both worlds. But I like the safety net because it appeals, it comforts their fears and their worries. But they're looking at a situation like they have to turn right or turn left. Turning right is financing through us. Turning left is financing through their bank, but that's uncertain and they don't know what it is. And they're stuck at that fork in the road and paralyzed by it. And when we frame it as best of both worlds or a safety net, it's not right or left. It's you're moving forward either way. And if it works out in your favor to the right, or you get this other thing, then that's great. If it works out, if that doesn't happen, you're already set and everything's moving. So it takes away that paralysis that they have, whether it's manufactured or real. And I think that that's really needed in this situation to eliminate the complexity of interest rates and payments and all that. You just say, we're moving forward and it's going to be pretty darn cheap. And it might get pretty darn cheaper if you find another way. But either way, you're moving forward and it's pretty darn cheap.
There you go. I like it. Scott.
Yeah, I like being prepared with the safety net for the worst possible case and bringing it to a slice of life where it just makes sense. It's a no-brainer to move forward. And hey, we have a great solution for you as a worst case scenario. But if you can find better, then more power to you.
Absolutely. Terry.
Well, something that hit me, this is a real objection. It's not a smokescreen. And I have an incredible opportunity. It's a no risk opportunity. I love that. So going forward, it's the safety net with the no risk opportunity. How can you say no?
Absolutely. All right, guys, cool. So hope you got a lot out of today. So again, the big deal is we're going to continue to keep going down financing for the rest of the week. I want to make sure we know it and how to use it. Each day we'll throw out a different objection and make sure we're getting prepared, right? So just because we went through today and you caught it in your ear doesn't mean you're done with it, right? We got to make sure we're role playing, as most of you said, so you smooth it out. Because when you smooth it out, remember, I'm not in the house every day. You guys are. So you guys need to get smooth with your delivery on it and figure out where you're going to go and how you're going to take it. I'll post this one up on the YouTube so you guys can sit there and listen to it and go over it. Because I promise you, if you just follow that little bit I did right there in that small segment, put your flavor into it with your personality and all the need and urgency you built, with your commitments and all that. This just helps take it over the finish line, right? The reason why I like safety net, if you've never bungee jumped, right? If you ever bungee jump, it's easier to bungee jump when there's a safety net. There's a backup plan in case the rope doesn't work, right? So the same thing is, if you ever bungee jumped and there's just water below you, that's a little more freaking scary. There's rocks and water, but if there's a safety net with basically sitting below you when you bungee jump, it's way easier to do so. So make sure, again, you let them know there's a safety net. You're there to help them in case something doesn't work out. You're making it a no-brainer to help them get what they need and want by what your solution is. Now, if you don't take the time to do the financing and you don't learn that like the back of your hand, I promise you, you are cutting $50,000 to $70,000 out of your income. Guaranteed. Not just guessing, guaranteed. When you get good and master that part of your business, you're going to make more money than you've ever made in your life, right? $50,000 increase per year is what they say on the average, running the same amount of leads by mastering your financing. So if $50,000 isn't motivation to you, that means you must just love doing the same thing over and over again. So let's make sure we take ourselves to that next level, use the tools we have and know them inside and out and how to use them in each situation. you should go back, time out. One last thing, reverse engineering. Take your last 3 objections, your last 10 objections, your last months of objections, go down and see how financing would have helped you change and shape the end of it. Those are things we need to be working on, right? So I'll start taking specific objections and showing you how to overcome those with basically financing. So again, tomorrow, same place, same time. Let's make it happen. We'll see you guys on the board. Have a great day. And as normal, who they think gonna be so cute?
Nobody.
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 All right. Have a good day, guys.